Howdy, Michael, the Mercedes guy here, and I'm going to be buying a used car and explaining several things that you need to look for. Now, the most important two things: the engine, and of course drivetrain, but the engine is what you want to check out first. And then the next is the rust. How bad is the rust? So, we've got a 123 coupe here with a gas engine in it. And what I'm going to do is do an easy compression test without pulling the plugs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off the wire to the distributor, and it's quite a ways in there. I want to ground that, so I'm going to use a little screwdriver. To get that grounded. You don't want to be cranking it over without a ground, or you could damage the coil. So what I'm going to do is crank the engine over and listen for the cycling of the engine. A good engine will be it'll be even in between each cylinder. A low compression cylinder, the engine will sound like it'll be very quick, where that when it comes to the compression stroke on a low cylinder. So with the wire off, let's see how this sounds. I can tell that there is a slightly low cylinder, but the engine passes my audible test. So that engine's probably a good engine. Now the next step, of course, is to start it up and check for smoke. Okay, so we've got a good engine there. Next, rust. And to do a good test for rust, you want to get a flashlight and a piece of cardboard to lay on and inspect underneath. Get right underneath the car. Look at the frame rails. Look to see if there's crinkling. In other words, if there's been damage to the body, to the structural. Look at the rockers, especially the front right here, because it gets rocks thrown up against it and it knocks off the undercoating, so it's bare metal. That's nice and solid. You want to check out all the way to the rear axle. Check out the sumps on each side. You want to lift up the floor mat and look at the trunk floor. Now I can see right here there's some rust. So that anything that you find wrong with a used car, you want to make a list, because you're going to be deducting that off of the asking price. So this, it's got some surface rust here, but it looks solid. That's a solid car. So, what I've seen so far, it's a solid car. Then you want to look at body and paint damage, because that can get expensive. And as you can see here, clear coat is coming off. And this is a real problem. If clear coat is applied at the factory, there's usually not a problem. But it's when you get talked into putting clear coat on several years after the original paint job, and it never adheres well. After so many years, it's going to start coming off. Same thing up here. And there's really, the only way to fix this is to sand it completely off, either to bare metal or at least through the clear coat everywhere, and then a new paint job. So, body damage. I can see this door. It's gonna, you know, if you can get another door, it's gonna be cheaper than fixing that, if you can get a straight door. Okay, next. Take a look at the core support. The most common damage to a car is on the front end. And see if the core support is nice and straight. If it's crinkled, then you know it's been in a front end collision. Okay, so it's going to need a door or this door fixed. The next thing you want to check is the condition of the doors. The first thing is this door check or door keeper. It keeps the door open. This one works, so that's a plus. The next thing, of course, is if the door closes and opens. Then the latch release handle. And I can see already that this one is partially broken, because it's, now this is something that should be fixed immediately. Otherwise, you're going to have to be rolling the window down and reaching your arm outside to get the door open, because once this breaks off the second pivot, it's a done deal. You aren't going to get the door open. Next, you want to look at windows, make sure they go up and down, and the condition of the bottom of the door. And I can see this has got some serious problems. This is the channel that holds the door seal, and it's a goner. So another door is the way to go with this car to replace that. Now, once you've checked all the windows, electric windows, make sure they go up and down. If they don't, it could be the switches, or it could be the motors. Now, what happens with a car that sits for years, the magnets in the motors will attract rust flakes and actually jam the motors so they don't turn. Or the problem, like I said, could be the switches. Now, sometimes with doors, it can be a broken wire right in here. So before you start attacking components, you want to have somebody hold the switch down with the key on and see if the glass goes up and down by moving the door. If there's a spot where it doesn't, then you know there's a broken wire in there.